Hello there, welcome back to Legends with Derka on the Series X. Today's video features another ship and commander from the collaboration with Warhammer 40,000, the British tabletop strategy game. This is the second collab of its kind, bringing us 2 new ships and 2 new commanders. Earlier this week we tested out the ship Smasher, and today we are looking at the Cross of Dorn. It is based on a Yorck hull, but with quite a few key differences that we can talk about today. We will also take a look at the commander Augustine Riegerwald. Are either one of these worth picking up? Let's find out. So the Dorn comes in at tier 6, and like mentioned, it's based on the Yorck hull, the German tech tree cruiser. Yorck isn't necessarily a fan favorite, I would say, and myself, I didn't enjoy playing it a ton. I did have some decent games in it every now and then, and it could be fun, but to me it was really just a stepping stone to its larger brother. But before we go any farther talking about that, let's look at the commander, who is also unique to Warhammer 40k. His name is Augustine, and his base trait, Merciless, is very good. Merciless is going to reduce the reload time of your cruiser main guns by 3% when maxed out, and also increase AP shell damage by 3% when maxed out. So I see it having useful applications for lots of ships, especially heavy cruisers. Think Alaska, Baltimore, Indy, Stalingrad, Hipper, Riga, etc. The ones that are AP centric especially. So to make things even better, Augustine has a fantastic special skill called Kraken Shells, and I think it's aptly named. For starters, it's in slot 2, which means you can max it out really easily. Maxed out, it will increase your cruiser speed by 5% and your AP shell penetration by 10%. Yikes. That's like adding 2 fully maxed Isoroku Yamamoto inspirations and a fully maxed Karl von Müller inspiration to boot. It's solid. So solid. While I'd love as the Azerlane Admiral Hipper commander, I might start using this guy because those are just some very, very good perks. For inspirations, I bounced back and forth a lot. I used Kuznetsov some because that's kind of how I played the Yorck, shooting from long range, but after several games, I found that I wasn't using that 18 or 19 kilometer firing range. It's just not fun to me. I don't like being at that long of a ranges. I'm not that kind of player. Even if it was the meta, I wouldn't do it. So I traded him out and I actually put on von Müller just to bring the speed up to a seriously respectable level. And we'll talk about that here in the stats. And then the mainstay inspiration I kept throughout the whole thing was Mimbelli's to make these 210mm guns blazing fast. And with that, let's get into the statistics. On this ship, survivability 13,600. It's good to average, and it comes in 6th place out of the 13 tier 6 cruisers that I have. I might reference that list a couple times, but yeah, out of the 13 cruisers, it's number 6. Armor isn't that great, but show me a tier 6 cruiser that does have good armor. When going through the armor viewer on Yorck and comparing it to all the other tier 6 ships, I think Yorck and Dorn and Weimar actually have pretty reasonably shaped citadels and armor schemes. If you don't believe me, go compare citadel sizes of the Weimar with the likes of Shores, Belfast, Miyoko, to name a few. Sure, some of them might have better armor, but look at the size of the vital parts of the ship, and the Yorck hull is not that terrible. You're still going to get wrecked by battleship rounds, don't get me wrong, so try not to get shot. On to the guns. The gun range is average. I used Beyond Range to bring it up a little bit more, and it sits at about 16 kilometers. Like mentioned, Kuznetsov, it brought it way up there, but I just get bored of playing long ranges. Maybe I have ADHD or something like that, I don't know. The reload, it's phenomenal. Remember, these are 210mm guns. They're bigger than Baltimore's. And with this setup, they're reloading in under 9 seconds, and I think that's where this ship really shines. On top of that, HE shell damage is 3rd place overall, and the AP shells hit for 4,800 apiece. That's pretty much the best at the tier. Only Yorck's is better of the ships that I have. Of course, you are still going to get out DPM'd by other small caliber cruisers with fast reloads, but the reload for these big guns feels nice. It's German, you get quarter HE pin and 10% fire chance, which of course is not that great, but hey, the penetration is nice. It has Yorck, Hipper, Weimar torps that we all know quite well, 6 on each side, 6 kilometer range, so keep that in mind if you're getting close to this ship. It can be pretty dangerous up close. Anti-aircraft is 55, pretty average, nothing really to see there. Now the speed is another interesting statistic for this ship. Without special perks, inspirations, or anything like that, a base hull Yorck will go about 32 knots. No full speed ahead, no velocious, blah blah blah. Now Dorn with Molar cruises at about 35 knots, but it comes with 2 speed boosts. They're French speed boosts, so they add 15% to your speed for 3 minutes. So for 3 minutes, you have a big, heavy cruiser that is running around at 40 knots. It's great. You can really catch people off guard. I've had several games where people misjudge shots, like several shots, because they had no idea that I was able to go 40 knots in this thing, which for the record would allow you to run down an Akatsuki and most destroyers at the tier. It's just one of the fun parts of this ship. Fast guns, fast ship. Concealment is not good. It's tied for the worst at the tier, 12.4. So it's World of Warships. What did we have to give up for this speed and for these speedy guns? The biggest thing that you lost from the Yorck to the Dorn is some AP damage, yes, but arguably the best feature of any German cruiser, the sonar. You become the only tier 6 cruiser, at least that I have, that doesn't have sonar. And at that, you're giving up German sonar that would usually reach 5.4 kilometers on ship detection, so that's kind of a big disadvantage when it comes to hunting destroyers. You'll have to be really diligent to not eat torpedoes. You have 2 speed boosts and 2 planes. You might find yourself wanting more by using fully packed. When I used fully packed and not refill station, I lost about half a second off of the reload. But hey, it could be worth it to have that extra 3 minutes of speed or the extra plane that sometimes comes in clutch at the end of a game to allow you to spam over islands. Overall, I think it's a really fun ship to play. It's definitely unique. Speaking of play, I mostly played it kind of standoffish at medium ranges, and then I used speed to push when the time was right. I love that feature. I love that this thing that can scream around at 40 knots. It's really fun. Now this game, it was kind of the exception, and that's because it's fault line. I've played this map so many times. When you spawn at the north where I did, usually if your team is supporting you, it's good to just push aggressively and crush the 3 ships at the southeast spawn. And that's what we did, and we got by with a little help from our friends. I do like the camo. As mentioned in the Ship Smasher video, while not a Warhammer fan, I think the art department did a great job on these camos. They are pretty cool to look at, and I give kudos to those guys. If you don't like the kind of goofy camos, of course you can turn them off in your settings. Overall, guys and gals, I really enjoyed this ship, but especially enjoy the commander. I think he is going to be pretty good on a lot of ships as inspirations and German cruisers with his special perk, Kraken Shells. If there were a way to just buy the commander, I would recommend him. If you have to buy both, you know, it's a lot of money. You just have to decide for yourself if that's something that you want to buy. Personally, I probably wouldn't. I have, like I said, 13 tier 6 cruisers. I don't know that I need another cruiser to play. But if you need one, this and heavy cruisers are your thing, this could be it. That is another ship review in the books. Be sure to like and comment with your thoughts on the Warhammer ships and the commander. I would love to hear from you. Also, be sure to subscribe because we're going to keep pumping out the content. All right. See ya!